Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever or whenever it is for you. For me, it's 6:31 a.m. here in the Eastern Time Zone of the United States. It's Thursday, the 4th of December, 2025. Today we start on chapter 17 of the book of 1 Samuel, and we're going to do a slower walk through chapter 17. This is a chapter, if you've ever heard the story of David and Goliath, this is the chapter that covers that. And in this chapter, there's a lot of kind of lead up to the actual confrontation between David and Goliath. And it's important to go through that, I think, a little slower. So that's what we're going to do. So it's probably going to take 4 days, maybe 5 max, but probably 4 to go through this. Today, I'm going to read the first 11 verses and then break it down, discuss it, and use this to challenge you and me. In the last of chapter 16, in chapter 16, we saw David get anointed as king after Saul's already been told that he's not going to be king anymore and that he will be the last of his family that is king. And then we see David anointed. We see Saul gets this troubling spirit, and David, ironically, is brought in to play music and calm him down. So all that's happened. And now we start to get some issues with the Philistines, and that's where chapter 17 picks up. Now the Philistines gathered their armies together to battle and were gathered in Succoth, which belongs to Judah. They encamped between Succoth and Azekah in Ephes Dammim. And Saul and the men of Israel were gathered together, and they encamped in the valley of Elah and drew up the battle in a battle array against the Philistines. The Philistines stood on a mountain on one side, and Israel stood on a mountain on the other side, with a valley between them. And a champion went out from the camp of the Philistines named Goliath from Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. He had a bronze helmet on his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail. And the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of bronze, and he had bronze armor on his legs and a bronze javelin between his shoulders. Now the staff of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and his iron spearhead weighed 600 shekels, and a shield bearer went before him. Then he stood and cried out to the armies of Israel and said to them, "Why have you come out to line up for battle? Am I not a Philistine, and you servants of Saul? Choose a man for yourselves and let him come down to me. If he's able to fight me and kill me, then we will be your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then you shall be our servants and serve us." And the Philistines said, "I defy the armies of Israel this day. Give me a man that we may fight together." When Saul and all Israel heard these words of the Philistine, they were dismayed and greatly afraid. All right, so this is one of those days where I'm going to geek up just a little bit about Bible. As I was doing my research, I was thinking a lot about stuff, so I'm trying to help you picture Goliath. It says that the armies gathered together. You had Israel on one side, it says on the side of a mountain, Philistines on the other side. It says there's a valley between them. It's probably more like a ravine between them. So picture like two mountains kind of coming together. There's a little bit of a valley or a ravine in between them, probably has water running through it. And so it would be a natural barrier, and you would be exposed if you went between the two. So it would be a problem. There's archers on both sides. But out walks this big guy, Goliath. His name actually means exposer. So he's literally exposing, the stuff, the weaknesses of Israel, and that is a picture of what he's doing. Now, picture Goliath. His height said was 6 cubits and a span. A cubit is somewhere between 16 and 18 inches. It's the measurement from the elbow to the end of the finger. Mine's like 17 and a half. So 16 to 18 inches, that's one cubit. So he was six of those. And a span is the distance between an outstretched thumb and pinky. And mine's right around 8 inches, 8 inches. So somewhere between, if you take that and do the math, he was somewhere between 8'7" and 9 feet 8 inches tall. So big dude. He would have been at least 50% taller than anybody else around that time. Even Saul, who was said to be a head and shoulders above everybody, was probably around 6 feet tall at the most. So picture a person who's taller than the tallest NBA player you've ever seen, or at least as tall as the tallest NBA player you've ever seen. And that's this guy. But he's not just tall like a tall NBA player. He's built. He's got to be built so much that he has this armor on him. The weight of that armor, 125 pounds of bronze just on his regular armor. This spear that he has, it says it's like a weaver's beam. That would just be really, really thick piece of wood. And the spear tip weighs 15 pounds. So think about that when you're thinking about picking it up. So if he's around 9 feet tall, give or take, that spear would have probably been 2 to 3 times longer than his height. So we're talking a strong, huge guy, and he comes out and he mocks Israel. He mocks the Israelites, and he's really mocking and attacking Saul, because he's saying, hey, am I not a Philistine, and are you not the armies of Saul? So he's really calling out Saul, and he's trying to taunt Saul to come out and fight him or send somebody. So all that together leads to this final line. They're out. There's a ton of Philistines. There's a bunch of Israelites. And this guy is so huge that he's dwarfing everybody. And it says that when Saul and all Israel heard these words of the Philistine, that they were dismayed and greatly afraid. So you get it, right? You're against this giant who's crazy big, and you're afraid. What they didn't do was remember the words of God and remember the very scriptures that had been written that they could read for themselves, that they probably have been reading. And some of those scriptures are like this. Deuteronomy 1:21 says, look, the Lord your God has set the land before you. Go up and possess it, as the Lord your God of your fathers has spoken to you. Don't fear or be discouraged. Deuteronomy 31:8 says, in the Lord, he is the one who goes before you. He will be with you. He will not leave or forsake you. Do not fear or be dismayed. They were great. They were dismayed and greatly afraid. Joshua 1, have I not commanded you, be strong and of good courage? Don't be afraid nor be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Joshua 8:1. Now the Lord said to Joshua, don't be afraid nor be dismayed. Take all the people of war with you and arise and go up to Ai. See, I have given into your hand the king of Ai, his people, his city, and his land. And finally, Joshua 10:25 said, then Joshua said to them, do not be afraid nor be dismayed. Be strong and of good courage, for thus the Lord will do to all your enemies against you fight. The problem goes all the way back to chapter 14, 15, where Saul was looking at Saul. There's this football player, Terrell Owens. He played a long time ago. Look him up if you're young and don't know who he is. But he was a receiver, and he was famous for lots of different sayings. But the one that I always remember in times like this is there was one time when Terrell said, "I love me some me." And that's where Saul was. Saul loved him some him. He had won that battle. He set up a pillar not to God, but to the house of Saul. because he was not correctly putting God in his place, but putting him in an elevated place. He's now been told that the kingship is going to be taken away from him and that there's going to be another one. Now Saul's finding out that loving me some me is not enough. That there's things that you're going to face. There's giants that you're going to face. There's things in life that are bigger than you. Terrell Owens eventually failed. Saul is failing here. And everybody who's ever lived, who loved them some them and didn't put God in the right place, failed and will fail. But God never, ever, ever fails. Does that mean he's going to do everything you want exactly the way you want it? No, you're not God. He is. And he's going to do what's best. And what's best may not always be what we think is best. Just like a little kid who can go into a candy store and think it would be best to eat 10 pounds of candy at once. And as a parent, we know that's not a good thing, so we would never let them do that. Well, there's things that look like that candy in a candy store to us, but God sees it from a whole different level and sees the whole picture all at once, and he knows. So it's all about trusting the one who knows everything to make everything work right. So my challenge is I leave today, and we're going to see David come into the picture tomorrow, and we're going to see a different picture than the one that we're leaving today as far as trust. But my challenge today, my question is, do you love you some you? Or do you love you some him? I'm actually thinking about getting a t-shirt that says, I love me some he. I have one that says he is greater than I, but I think I love me some he would be awesome. That's my challenge. That's my challenge to you and to me. Because we all can have success. We all can have things go right. We all can get to a level in life or whatever where we thought we'd never get. And we can start to look in the mirror and think that that was all us. But it's not. It's all him. So that's my challenge today. Are we keeping it in the right perspective? God, thank you for your word. And thank you for how it does read us. Even stories that happened thousands of years ago, even stories about this giant figure that we can't even really totally comprehend just how incredible he looked. Lord, thank you for reminding us that there's only one way to defeat any giant, and that's you. In Jesus' name, amen. Thanks for spending your time with me whenever, wherever that is for you. I will see you back here next session, and we'll pick up and see David enter in and how the scene is about to change. Have a great day.